and I didn't want to be live. Now I'll be live. Time to change topics. Okay, give it a minute. I'm alive. Yeah, I'm alive. Yeah. I pinched myself. I feel like it. I'm alive. Yep, I live on. Yep. For now. I'm just giving a minute before I start talking. At least let one person get in here, so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. It's supposed to be a live stream. I will at least have one member of an audience somewhere, right? That ain't gonna much matter because here in a little bit somebody don't show up. I'll just go anyhow, because that's the way it goes. I never advertise them, so you know. But anyhow, yeah, it looks like I got somebody in here now. Anyhow, so paying for our own enslavement. That's sort of what I want to talk about. You know, because it doesn't matter what walk of life you're on in society. Have you ever watched movies on street gangs and corruption where they go around and they go into somebody's business and they manipulate the owner of the business through violence and through force and coercion to pay for protection? Well, do you realize that's what taxation is? Yeah. They just gave that very same behavior a fancy name. And the difference is we don't have to worry about a business. We can do it to everybody through coercion. And we'll just make a man-made rule called a law. We'll give that a fancy name too. And we'll use that to steal money from you so that we don't got to do anything for money. Then we can get rich off the backs of everybody else. Yep, that's what taxation is. It sure is. It's the same mentality. Okay, you ain't going to do nothing without being taxed, right? So if you go out, you work and you earn, and you work and you earn, and you save your money, and you buy something, and you start manufacturing a product on your own that you want to put on sale to the market, and you start selling it, well, they're going to tell you have to have a license and you have to have permission. Right? Your owner has to give you permission. And then your owner has to stick their hands into your profits. And they have to see all of your records of how much you made and how much it sold, and yeah, so that they can stick their hands into your money. Same thing as the street gang that walked into a business and said that they have to pay for protection. It's the same thing. It's just it's done in a fancier way. We're going to give holding a gun to your head and robbing you a fancy name. That way you'll go along with being robbed. We'll call it taxes. Yep, I think that's the fancy name we'll give it. We'll call it taxes. Okay? Yep, and it worked out really well for them. You know, all you homeowners believe you own your home. But, you know, when they had taxes on products and you paid the tax at the cash register, like you bought a saw or a hammer or a drill or whatever, they attach taxes to the price that they give to your owners. But you don't have to go back once a year and pay taxes again on that product. No. You're not going down and paying property taxes on your skill saw, on your socket set, paying property taxes on your television set, paying property taxes on your computer, yeah, paying property taxes on your toaster, Oh no, I probably just gave him an idea, didn't I? Oh, shame on me. I gave these damn criminals an idea, didn't I? Yeah, I'm sure I did. Well, that's why I said they're paying for our own enslavement. Because you might spend 30 years, 40 years paying off your home. Just to find out you spent 30 or 40 years breaking your butt to pay off your home to still not own it. That's right. Because you finally paid it off. But you have to pay somebody who don't own it taxes. That's right, Dave. And well, that's what greed does, Dave. There's never enough when you got greed going on, right? You have to pay for more, more. We need more. And it don't quit. It's more, more. That's right, because greed don't have an end. There's never enough. It's just like power. It don't have an end. There's never enough. It's just like ego. There's never enough. That's exactly right. They can never get enough. And so here we are in a world where people don't realize that this is the street gang mentality, the mafia mentality, the mob. We put a gun to your head and we demand that you pay for protection. And if you don't pay for protection, we're going to beat you up, break your things. Yeah, that's right. We might even cut off a finger or two. So that you get the idea to be scared shitless of us and pay us some of your profit. So that we don't got to do anything for it. That way we can be lazy and just collect it. Well, that is what taxation is, right? Yeah, we just gave it a fancy name. We said the taxation, taxes. That's right. We convinced you in every area around possible to get you to go along with us and willingly give us your money. See, money, the monetary system, is the most corrupt entity on the face of this earth. It is what's corrupted so many people. I mean, it is the root of all evil. It really is a root to all evil. People walk on each other and step on each other every day to climb up the ladder. They call that the ladder of the hierarchy of success. So your success is based on kicking somebody when they're down, stepping on somebody, thinking you're better than somebody, and walking around with a psychopathic mentality in your head. And because we've been so fooled, you actually believe there's nothing wrong with taxes. Well, but taxes pay for our school teachers. Right, right, they do, right? Well, but the problem with that is your school teachers are teaching only what they're allowed to teach, and they don't have to teach truth. They teach exactly what they're told to teach and nothing more. That way we keep you dumbed down. We keep knowledge away from you. That's really what that's about. So we paid a bunch of clowns and controlled them through what? The root of all evil, money. We told them what they were allowed to teach. We give them what we want them to teach. We don't care if our history books are telling you lies. You can grow up as a child believing that 9/11 happened the way they reported it. You could believe as a child growing up that Handy Crook happened the way it was reported. Even though the report, the official lie, which is what it was a lie, was wrote into a history book. Now we're going to teach our children generations down the road that this lie is truth. When it's never been truth, it's always been a lie. And it's still a lie. Do you get how that happens? I mean, it's just psychotically insane. Yeah, it is. Okay? Taxation is the biggest fraud, the biggest thief on the face of this earth. That's exactly right. Dave's right on spot. Taxes is nothing more than politicians using political strong arm tactics to extort more our money. That's right, to steal your money from you. It's no different than Dave and I walking in your house unannounced with guns in our hand and demanding protection fee. That you will pay us money, this set amount per month, for us to protect you. And then if you go to refuse us, well, we'll cut a finger off, we'll cut a toe off, we'll do harm unto you so that you'll be in pain and suffering so that you will agree to it. And we promise you that as long as you give us money, we won't cut any more fingers off or arms off, we won't break a leg, we won't break an arm. There you go. Right in your face. That's what's going on. It couldn't get any more plain and clear. But unfortunately, we live in a world full of idiots that don't pay attention to anything that's going on around them, that just don't get it. Unreal. Unreal. Yeah, I feel sorry for all these people. You spend 35, 40 years paying off your home. You finally get it paid off and say, oh, damn, I just spent all these years paying for my property. I'm sure glad I got this piece of property. It's mine now. And then something tragic happens and maybe your health takes a nosedive. And that'll be because they created that too for you. Because you went to your doctor who isn't there to help you, who's there to make you sicker, suppress the symptom down so that later on you'll come back for more. That's right. You see how this just keeps bleeding over into everything? The corruption, the corruption, the corruption just keeps going on and on and on. Yep. So anyhow, back to taxes again, okay? Back to putting a gun to your head. That's really what's going on. Okay, I'll give you a good one, okay? You know, Anybody that's done the research knows that federal income tax, that we take off the money that you earn. That tax, that putting the gun to your head and taking money out of your paycheck that they didn't work for. Yeah. That part? You know, you all file for taxes at the end of the year and you get some of the money they stole from you back, right? Right? Nah, not really. Some people, they pick out the bully. They done that with Heather. They picked her out the bully. Yep, the IRS sure did. She filed her taxes back in February. Well, instead of getting her check, instead of getting a deposit, she got a letter that said she had to prove her identity. She needed to prove she was Heather. So they wanted her pay stubs and her W-2 forms, and they wanted her last year's taxes that she filed, and blah, blah, blah. So we got it all together, and we sent it off to the Internal Criminal Services. Yeah, the Internal Criminal Services, the IRS. Okay? And we went ahead and done that. And they told her that, okay, once they got it, be about another, 30 days or so, what have you. She should see a check in the mail, a deposit. If not, she'd get another letter, okay? Well, there wasn't a deposit, damn it. She got another letter. Now she had to go to the IRS's office. Yep, she sure did. And they frisked her. They had an armed security guard, and they had her put her arms in the air, and they frisked her down like she was a criminal, searching her for any weapons when the guy that was searching her was the one holding the weapon. Now, this is just because she had to prove she was Heather, okay? Now, she goes back in the office after being treated like a criminal by the criminals. Okay, yep, that's right. Criminals treating somebody else like a criminal. So they take her back into the office, and she shows them her ID. her legal ID. She shows them who she is and blah, 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 and her social security card and everything. Okay? She gives them all the proof that, hi, I'm Heather. So then they tell her, okay, once this processes, you should have your check in like 40 days, 45 days, and it'll be deposited in your account. Okay. Well, that day came, that day went. No letter, no nothing, no letter, no nothing. She's on vacation now. She's in Florida. She comes back from Florida, no deposit. So she calls the criminal services again, the IRS, and they proceed to tell her, well, there should be a letter coming in the next week or so to you that'll explain what's going on. So a month later, not a week or so, a month later, a letter shows up saying that she needs to send what she's already sent to them. But this time they added she needed a letterhead from her employers to prove they were actually employers. So all the information she already sent to them, they're asking for it again, but this time they also need a letterhead. Okay, so there you go. So here we are, 6 months in. She's complied with everything they've asked her to do, including going down and being frisked and treated like a criminal by criminals. And she still has yet to see that income tax check. That's right, because they're not going to release it to her until she complies. You better comply, slave. Oh, you didn't comply quite good enough for me. I told you to shit pink, purple, blue today, not red, purple, blue. There you go. There it is, right in your face. The true criminal entity, treating the citizen as the criminal when they're the criminal. So there you are, taxation again. Well, how'd that get into paying for our own enslavement? Well, simple. When you were on your job site breaking your balls to earn that money that you're making, do you recall that person who's dipping into your paycheck alongside you, working with you to earn what they're taking from you? Do you remember earning what they're taking from you? Oh no, that's right, because they owe you. Oh, by the way, they also own the money, and it's not your money. I don't care if you worked 80 hours or 120 hours. That is not your money. You did that labor for our permission to borrow some of what we own. So therefore, outside of food and water and drinks, things we consume to stay alive, we'll excuse that. But anything else you buy with that there money we own, by technicalities, we own the money. We borrowed it to you for your labor. We also own everything you bought because it was never your money to use to buy that. It was always our money. And what do we do as a people? We sit back and put up with this shit. We don't rise together pissed off, angry, or nothing. We don't just simply stand down and say, up yours, and go create our own monetary system and say, fuck you. We don't rise together to help each other, to defend each other, to better our world at all. We just all bend over and say, yes, sir, boss. Yep, that's what we do. Yep, I'm proud to be an American. Really? Well, at least I know I'm free. Wow, you must be sound asleep. You actually believe you're free. Here, let me pinch you. Have you got the alarm clock set? Or maybe I can wake you up so you can realize that you're not free. Okay? Oh, that's right. People are coming from other countries. They're striving to get into the land of the free and the home of the brave. Hold on. You mean people are striving to go to the land of the enslaved and the home of the cowards? Oh no, I might have offended somebody. Oh well, can't help you if I did. If I offended you, you know what? I don't care. Because I don't care what you think of me. I'm telling you the truth whether you want to hear it or not. And if you don't want to hear it, you know where the exit button is at the top of your page? Use it. There's lots of other fluff and stuff you could go watch. Maybe you could go watch Tom and Jerry. Maybe you like Bugs Bunny. Yeah, or, maybe you like Scooby-Doo or the Flintstones. You could go watch them. Because you sure don't got to be on my channel. Because I might say some stuff to offend you. Oh, no, you might have to run to your safe place. Hey, guy, have you got a safe place to run to so you can hide from the truth? And then you got these idiots that come up here and tell me, well, you got to support your troops. No, I don't got to support my troops. See, because that's another scam. We send our recruiters into your high schools and we lie to you and tell you that you're going to teach you how to grow up and become a man. And nowadays, grow up and become a man or a woman. Join your local military so that we can send you to brainwashing camp and abuse the hell out of you and make you know that we own you. And if you don't do as we say, we're going to lock you up. That's right. And then you're going to go right on over there into somebody else's land because they told you to. And they're going to lie to you again, tell you that you're protecting your country and you're protecting your freedom you never had. Okay? So you're protecting your enslavement. Ah, that's what you're protecting. You're protecting your right to be a slave. Ah, now I know what you're doing. That's right. And the sad thing about it is, you know why we go to the high school? Because we're getting you before you have any life experience and really realize what's going on. That's right. Why do you think we pick out the young? Because the young have no life experience. The young don't know what's going on. They're the easiest targets for manipulation. There you go. There's the real truth once again in your face. Oh no, I may have said something to offend somebody again. Oh well, get over it. What can I do? What can I do to help people that, oh, that's right. You can't fix stupid. I'm sure you're all going to go right out there and vote this next election, right? Sure you will. You'll be right there picking out old Mr. Donald Hoo-Hoo and whoever the other Hoo-Hoo will be and the other Yay-Yay will be. And you'll run right out of that fraudulent voting booth and vote for who's going to tell you what color to shit next. That's right. Then when they don't keep their phony lying promises, you won't get it. You won't understand it. You'll be mad at them for not keeping their promises, because they lied to you. But y'all knew they were lying to you when they were running. Y'all know the politicians lie, but you're still going to go vote for a liar. And then you're going to complain they didn't keep their promise to you. But don't worry, the next election you can have another delusion in your head that says, somehow this time we'll vote for the right person. And then that'll all happen all over again, and it'll be the same thing. You'll go back the next 4 years and vote for the mirage. Next 4 years goes by, okay, I'll vote for the hologram. Another 4 years goes by, I'll vote for the dream. The American dream. Why do you think they call it the American dream? Because that's what it is, a dream. It's not a reality. See, the reality is money, the monetary system, is the worst thing that happened to this world. It has pitted people against people. It has caused the mentality of walking on somebody else to get more for yourself. It is, come on, America through the Rothschild dynasty, we financed both sides of World War II. We sure did. We financed both sides to fight each other. We kept feeding both sides more of the tool so that they would keep building more weapons. And they would keep going out there killing each other. Oh, by the way, that was your young people again from all countries that had no life experience, that really thought they were fighting for their own land when they wasn't, when they never was. When the real truth is they were never fighting for any of the stuff that was told to you. They were helping these sick entities at the top with population reduction. That's right. And they were being pitted against each other and fighting one another. So what are we looking at here? See, so this is what we're looking at. We're looking at lies, manipulation, and lies and manipulation. And the mafia, the syndicate, the mob, the street gang mentality. And everybody pays for protection. Not just the business owner, but everybody. You might work over at Hardee's, or you might work at McDonald's, or you might work at some manufacturing place, or you might be a construction worker. All you people that are working, well, these people that have nothing to do with the labor you're doing or the product itself, they're dipping their hands into everything. They're dipping their hand into the owner of the company's profits. They're dipping their hands into your money that you made. Oh, that's right, I forgot. It was never your money. You had the right to borrow some, and they have a right to dip their hands into some what you're borrowing. Oh, they don't got to pay back what any they take out of what you work for. No, because it belongs to them. And anything you buy belongs to them too. Why do you think you can't own your house? I don't care if you work 30 years or 40 years to pay it off. What'd you pay off? Nothing. You never owned it to begin with. Because the first time the end of the year comes and you don't pay that tax that they got the gun to the top of your head on, they send their little thugs down there with a piece of paper that had badges and guns on their side to steal it back from you. Wow, man, you worked 40 years and a bunch of thugs showed up with bubble gums on their cars and a piece of paper from some courtroom that should be out in the middle of the ocean. Because all laws are made off of your damn fucking out to sea fucking laws. You know, so it's just all crazy. Everything is completely, and you know, and how we can go for, you know, decade after decade after decade after decade and keep falling for the mirage, for the illusion. I mean, I bet you people just love the fact that if your name is Rockefeller and you live in America, your house, you don't pay property taxes every year on. No! They created a special piece of paper just for themselves that says that they're exempt from paying property taxes. And nobody can take it from them because it belongs to them. That's right. They own it. And they'll never pay property taxes. But what did we do about that? Oh, that's right. We do the same thing we always do. Not a damn thing. We cowered down like a bunch of little chicken scared yellow bellies and just let it happen. See, that's all I ever see anyhow. I've been watching and doing part of the truth movement for years. Well, Warren's right. Truth community don't even exist. That's another hologram, a mirage, an illusion, a dream, fantasy, whatever you want to call it. They're not really truthers. What have we done to change anything? Just like men's rights activist MRA. Oh, that's right. That's another hologram, an illusion, a mirage, a dream, a fantasy. What have any of these two entities ever done that's changed anything that's going on? Can anybody in this chat give me one thing that The truth of the community changed, or that the manosphere changed through MRA. Just write down one thing from each entity. What have they changed in all the years that men's rights activists have been fighting for the men, and that the truthers are fighting for us all? What have they changed? Just one item from each entity. Oh, I don't. I know what they changed. You know what they changed? Exactly nothing. Not a damn thing at all. That's exactly what they changed. Now you can say to yourself, why would that be? Well, that would be because people are hooked up into that money, the tool, the monetary system. And then there's the other reason. People are scared. They're either scared of saying something for what somebody else might think of them, or they're scared of somebody because they got a badge, or they have a position in Congress. Yeah, that's government official. Yeah, that person has a badge, man. They're a fed. They're a sheriff or a deputy. Oh, but they're a policeman. And they're all under the fucking sock fucking puppet thing too. They're the particular order followers. That's the one thing Mark Pascal done right. He talked about order followers. By golly, that's what we have. Follow your orders. Allow somebody to step on your face. Don't mind they stepped in a big old pile of horse manure just before they wipe their foot off on your face. That's called running up somebody, man. So you can move up the argy there, yeah. You can move on up, move on up. Yep, with Jefferson's, right? You know, remember that sitcom, The Jeffersons, with George Jefferson? Yeah, they were moving on up. Well, isn't that what everybody wants to do is moving on up? Yep, they sure do. That's a cost to stepping on somebody else and you don't care? Yeah. So is the illusion over? No, hell no. The illusion ain't never going to be over because people are too stupid to fucking, when you really look at it, and I hate to say it that way, but the truth is the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. When you got all these years of men's rights activists and you watch the agent Paul Elam turn it over to feminist women, but don't worry, they're fighting for your rights, men. Not. Okay? Then you got all these truthers on the other end. Oh, yeah, that false flag over here and and the war and our monetary system and everything they tell you, man, they'll tell you lots of truth and lots of bullshit. That's right. Because our internet's filled full of agents. Oh, they're people that's willing to take some of that tool. Back to the money again. Yep. They're going to take some of that there money to keep you enslaved because they're dumb. Let's think about our truth community. High Impact Flicks is a really good one. He tells you all kinds of truth, but at the same time, you can tell he's like on level 2 of research. He hasn't researched a lot. You can tell it by the truth he's telling you. That's right. And he's believing and telling you to believe that you can change things by calling the criminal who done it to you deliberately for their own selfish gain. That if you call them or you write them, that they'll somehow stop making these rules on you. Isn't that what MRA did for years? Ah, we'll call the criminals up who deliberately done this to us and tell them they must have made a mistake. Nope, there was no mistake about it. And they're not going to change a damn thing. You had a 1,000,000-man march on Washington about 6, 7 years ago. Now CNN, ABC, CBS, Fox, MSN, NBC, none of them reported on that 1,000,000-man march. There's a complete blackout in the media. How does that happen? Think about it. The only reason anybody knew about it is because of people going to the Million Man March and videoing it, and bringing it back and putting it for people to see. So what does that tell you about your chances of changing anything? You're not going to, and you never will. There's only one way to change any of this stuff. And it starts with what I've been harping on you every day about care. Because when you truly care about everybody, not just yourself, and you care about what's right, and that's not hard to figure out what's right. All you got to do is think about what you wouldn't want done onto yourself. If you would not want it done to you, then it's obviously very obvious you wouldn't do it to somebody else. Was that hard to figure out? No. But for a lot of you, that's too hard to figure out. Now, a lot of you just don't want to think about it because thinking about it might depress you a little bit, right? And you don't want to feel any kind of anger or anxiety or depression, right? Well, do you realize being angered over people's foul behaviors and what these criminals have done is a normal human reaction? And by you blowing that off, you're preventing yourself from ever doing what's right. Because if everybody would care, then they would be angered by what they're seeing, and then they would rise up together, and say no to these people doing it. That's right. They would stand down. Military would stand down. But see, we got the perfect setup here. We're going to go into the high school. We're going to recruit the young people that have no life experience. We're going to send them off to brainwashing camp. And then we're going to put the contract open that we own your life and we'll lock you up if you don't do what we say. And we're going to turn them into perfect order followers. And then we're going to use them for our own gain. That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly why all military personnel, except for the ones that are too far gone on their head, need to just put things down and say, fuck you, we're not doing it. Well, but then they'll lock us up. Yeah, but if you get the majority of them to do it at the same time, they ain't going to lock nobody up. Because then they wouldn't have a military. They wouldn't be able to use you as the useful slave you are. You follow what I'm telling you? But see, because once again, we don't possess that word that I've been harping on you about called care, we become complicit when we allow this to happen to us. I don't know what to tell you other than I'm telling you the stone cold truth in your face, whether you like it or not. Because that is the reality. So here we are in our society where we all being threatened by the street gang. We got to pay for our own protection. We're not allowed to own anything. That's right. Oh, I know. You believe you own your car. You believe you own your toaster. You think you own your microwave. You think you own your refrigerator and stove. I know. You think you own your toolbox. No, you don't own any of it. Matter of fact, you don't even own the clothes on your back. Sure don't. Because you're only allowed to borrow that money for your labor. So, well, I'll tell you what, Illusion, I got lots and lots of videos with my face in it. There's a reason that I've been doing my live streams this way without my face. Because there's certain people out here that have information about how to call into this live stream, and they can pick up their phone and call in. And in doing so, if I don't got it set up this way, their personal phone number will be there for the public. And I don't want the public to see their personal phone number. So this is the reason I've been doing them the way you're seeing them, is for respect for people like Dave, or Warren, or Steve Hoka. You know, if you want to participate in this live stream, I have no problem. My collusion is over there. I understand, but I'm going to say it so everybody hears it. If you're for real, like I know illusion, I know you are. Okay, I already know that you're right on the same page as me. You're not asleep at all. If you ever wanted to participate in this live stream and chat, I would welcome you in with open arms. I'm not saying you do, but you have that ability. All you would have to do is tell me. I would give you my email, and I could give you the information. Or I could give you my email, and you could download Zoom. And you could send me a friend's request. See, if you already have Zoom, then I could put both of our faces up here if you wasn't afraid to show your face. Your phone number won't show up. Why, hello.
Hey.
Why, hey. You're Warren.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm still waiting on my weed dude to call me back, so I might have to go if he calls back. But I don't know
Okay,
when he
well,
can
I
get.
don't know. I'm not waiting on no weed dude, but here you are. This is just what I was saying. See, Warren was able to call in and nobody sees his phone number. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
See,
Is Steve here too?
no, he's not. It's just you at this point. I'm by myself over here.
Oh yeah.
But,
Okay.
but
Okay.
now
Yeah.
I have
I
company,
just
you know.
tuned in.
Well, I was talking about people paying for their own enslavement, and I was talking about the street gang mentality where they go into the business and they're going to tell you
Yeah.
you got to pay for protection, and if you don't pay for protection, we're going to cut a couple fingers off, break a couple ribs, or whatever. So you get the incentive to get your money to them for protection, right? And then I
Yeah.
then I took that mentality and I wrote it into the truth. Taxes. What do they think taxation is? That's that same mentality.
It really is.
You
It
know,
is.
the only difference is when you don't pay
And
your
we can get.
taxes, we'll send thugs to your door to put handcuffs on you and throw you in a cage.
It's really not a simple solution, right? There's two paradigms. There's a civilized paradigm, and there's the natural order. Both of them are bad. That's the problem right there, right? Is we need a system with which to run society by, but at the same time, because of humans being what they are, it's going to be corrupted. So you're caught between a rock and a hard spot. I mean, we could talk about the pros and cons of civilization. The pros are this allow people to be more empathetic and sympathetic and compassionate, more humane, but it's also being orchestrated by a bunch of psychopaths and is being led to our demise. So like I said, there's not really an easy answer there. I mean,
Well, no,
you
there is.
know,
There isn't an easy answer, but it all goes back to one thing, Warren. It goes
mm,
all right back to the monetary system. And because
yeah,
it all goes back to the monetary system, you have to really think about it hard. Because it's the monetary system is the root to all evil. The monetary
yeah.
system has allowed us to step on somebody else's face and wipe the manure off on their face to rise up and call yourself successful.
Agreed 100%. So here's the thing, man. They were manipulating society before money came along through trade, but it was a lot harder for them to do that. It was difficult because it ran into a lot of, it stirred up a can of worms for the elites because it's kind of hard to keep everybody in a working order whenever, everybody wants something different for their work. I mean,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it was hard to
exactly.
control people. So they had to move them onto a common medium of exchange, and it made it a lot easier for the elites to control
Well,
people.
yeah, see, but if you'd have stayed with what it was before they started using monetary money, yeah, there was still manipulation, but at no level to what it is now.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
think about this, Bill. Think about this. Think about this. And I've said this before. Think about this here for a moment, right? in school they tell us, well, why do we stop trading? Why do we go to money? They say, oh, well, money didn't work out and it ran into problems. Well, if that's the case, then explain to me why there's still tribes all over the world in various parts of the world that have survived for hundreds of thousands of years on trade and are doing fine on trade.
Well, see, the mentality changes when you get monetary, because monetary
Yeah.
has a rule that says there's no limit to how much you can get, Warren. And the successful people are the one that shit and stepped on a whole bunch of people and destroyed lives moving up the ladder because they're successful.
Well, what we're evolving into is like an aristocracy where the greater number of people, especially men, are going to have to be forced to work and break their ass for society, which leaves them physically hungry, starving, emotionally hungry, and alone, lonely. We were experiencing that already. I mean, they'll be forced to slave away and bust their ass for society, which not only doesn't take care of their needs, but even abuses them.
Well,
People are
yeah.
going to go along with it.
We talked about this the other day. Okay, first off, I'll bring up something Warren said the other day, which is absolutely true. There is no truther movement. There never has been a truther movement. It's a bunch of fraud and fakes. There is no.
Entertainment.
Yes, that's right. It's entertainment. There is no MRA, men's right activists. Okay? Like I said a little earlier in the show, I want people just to give me one example from the truther community and from MRA, one example of what that MRA has accomplished for us and what truth has accomplished for us, and the answer is simple: nothing.
Now, a lot of the MRAs too, and a lot of people in the manosphere. I mean, around there. I mean, a lot of these people are pretty much too. I mean, like I said, they're just trad cucks. They're just fucking. They're just Republican feminists. That's all they are. I mean, under another name.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah. I mean, I kind of have a hard time believing that the men's rights movement is there for men, especially when it's been orchestrated by the same government that's created all of our problems. That is being headed by a bunch of women.
Oh, I know.
I mean, think about this here for a moment. I mean,
Oh well,
you know,
hold on, Warren. I just got to be sarcastic for 1 minute, okay? You
yeah.
gonna tell me it's headed by women? How could that be? Women are suppressed down and they're victims, and we got to protect them.
I know. What does that say? That because the line that a lot of MRAs use is, oh well, we have to use women to speak for us, or nobody will listen to us. Okay, that is true to a certain extent, but think about that for a moment, though. Think about that. What does that tell you? I mean, we're fed the victims. We're fed a lie that women are the victims and women have no power, but yet they won't listen to men talking about men's problems. Women have to talk about men's problems to people to even listen at all. And even then, they still don't take it seriously.
No, well, that's just
I mean,
it. Let's look at the reality. The men's rights movement and the truthful community have two things in common, or one thing in common with each other. They don't take anything seriously and they don't give a fuck.
yeah.
Okay?
Well, I see it all the time in the truther community, man. They don't, to them, like I said, they're into conspiratainment. They don't take any of these issues to heart. And you know how they don't take it to heart? Because they don't practice the damn thing that they preach. They want to sit here and tell everybody else about self-reflection and talk about how degenerate society is while they do all the same shit themselves they're slamming everybody else for doing.
Oh, I know. Well, my last.
Jerry, man, is a good example of that.
Oh, tell me about it. Jerry was a really good example of that. I take my last
You know?
my last commenter made the statement that I take things seriously. Well, you know what? There are people that take things seriously, just like myself,
Yeah.
and I don't disagree with his comment because the reality is, like him, like myself, like Warren, like Steve Hoka, and like a few other names I could say, we do take things seriously. So there is a percentage of that do, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, we are outnumbered by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of low lives that don't take it seriously.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Exactly. I mean, the majority of people in the truth community, man, they're not there because they really care about the truth. They're there because they think they're being edgy or angsty, and they think it's entertainment or whatnot. I mean, I hate to be that way, but I mean that's really what it is. I mean.
Well, yeah, it comes down to that because they're taking it like it's a game, it's a sport in this arena. You know, And if they don't take it that way, it's because they got their ego flying high like Jerry, and it's all about me, me, and my ego.
Who is this narwhal guy? He said, "Oh, I smell a narwhal." I don't know who the narwhal. I mean, I'm not a narwhal.
Uh,
I mean,
I'm not understanding what they're saying about that. Okay.
narwhal. It's a euphemism sent for not all women are like that. It's just, some women always say, "Well, not all women are like that," but yet, wait a minute. Let's think about this here for a bit. Let's think about this for a moment, okay?
Well, unfortunately,
Let's think about it. Let's honestly think about this. Okay, you're older than I am. I'm about 40 years old. You're like what, 50 something, like 58, something like that.
yeah,
Okay, now think about this. And both of our entire time, we've never honestly, confidently met an honest woman. Okay,
yep, that would be a true statement.
and the fact that there's so many men are living TFL kind of suggests, yeah, well, all women are like that, or at least like 99.99% of them.
Well, you know what I'm going to say about this, Warren, is
Hmm.
I would agree that not all women are because that's putting the entire gender in that category, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say is simple. The problem we have is 30 years of male bashing in everybody's face, and it's laughed at as considered entertainment. But unfortunately, too many people took it for real. And we don't
Yeah.
got women, I don't see women anyhow, that are willing to come up. It's just like, okay, let's go with the MRA. That's a good example. We got Karen Stroud, who's been up here for what, 8 years now? Okay, who's
Yeah.
accomplished nothing. But let's look at the reality. If she was really fighting for rights for all, why wasn't she down there with a bunch of women picketing Hollywood about the male shaming? Because
Yeah.
if we had 30 years of female shaming, then women wouldn't tolerate it. They'd be rioting. They would be picketing. But nobody's doing
Well,
that for men. Now, see, but I'm not getting down on women about that. The reality is we have allowed this stuff to happen. And only we can change that. I'm not against women because I don't hate women at all. What I
I
hate is
don't hate women, man. I
I
don't
hate
hate women.
corruption. Okay, so it comes down, Warren, it comes down to this. I hate corruption. It's not a gender issue. If I speak out against a woman, I'm speaking out the wrongs women are doing. But you know what? On an
Yeah.
equal basis, I speak up against men for the wrong they do, and I speak up against women for the wrong they do, and then I'm called a misogynist and a woman hater because I said something that was true against the female gender. But at the same time, I'm still not going to label all women because I understand this. There
Yeah.
are real women out here that see and know what's going on, but the minute they come up and say anything in defense of the man, this is what I've actually witnessed happening. Women and men alike attack them. Then they go quiet
Yeah.
because they're being attacked by both genders because they dare to say the truth because of the gender they are. That is not that woman's fault. If she came
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I agree.
if she came up and tried to do what's right and got attacked by both genders, she goes, "What the fuck?" I don't blame her.
Well, I mean, here's what I think about, man. I mean, to a certain degree, I mean, a lot of this is conditioning, and it's going globally, man. So, I mean, all this fucking toxic gynocentrism is spreading to other cultures. Now, a certain amount of that it probably is, to a certain degree, biological. But, I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I don't necessarily think that women are, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and hate on women because of, I mean, men and women both. I mean, have bad traits within that are predeterministic traits that are in human biology. So it's not really so simple as what I'm saying. I mean,
I know what
here's
you're. I know
the
what
thing is
you're
with the war on
saying.
men. The thing is with the war on men, you can't put 100% of that on women either because the men are the ones that enabled it. The men, or if you call them men, I call them fucking manginas, white knight, Captain Save a Hose. There's a fucking ton of terms you can use, but
Totally agree. Totally agree.
yeah,
Men did enable this problem. You can't blame women. How could you blame women? Because the reality is this. Let's go back to childhood. We have a little girl and a little boy, both children, and the parents anymore in today's society shove their kids in front of their TV for their babysitter. Okay? And so whether it's the music or the television set or the books and magazines and stuff that's put in everybody's face, their whole life they see men as been put down, put down, put down. Men have been portrayed as rapists, predators, villains, vile, everything nasty. And they grow up to a
Yeah.
child seeing this. And then everybody around them confirms because they all grew up seeing the same thing. So it is brainwashing to its finest that has divided us. But see, the problem is it is division, and it's been socially engineered to divide the women and the men apart from each other, to destroy the family unit, to cause as much friction and fighting as we can get, to destroy the family unit, to divide and conquer. And it has worked out
Yeah.
wonderful for them. And that's why I told people a long time ago, I want to see the genders come back together again.
And here it is, man. Both genders have, in a sense, led to the breakdown of the family unit. It started with feminism, okay? It started with feminism breaking down the family unit, right? But then you got stuff like, which I understand why they do it. I don't blame them for doing it, assuming that they're actually doing it. Things like MGTOW, say for example, um, you know, that also though furtherly leads to the further breakdown of whatever is left at this point of the family unit. I mean, within society, there
Well,
are
it
certain
does.
cultures in
It
our
does.
society that are becoming Americanized at this point still have a little bit relatively stronger family values than most white and black Americans. Like if you look at like Latinos, the ones that aren't too Americanized, or if you look at like some other cultures, like I mean they still have more family values. But what happens is they come in here into what they call the melting pot, and they become Americanized over time. I can already see this happening to Latinos. It's already starting to happen.
Yes.
The more they become Americanized. So I mean,
Well, it is, Warren, and even with saying Americanized, when we look, we're going to go all west. We have America, we have Canada, we have United Kingdom, we have Australia, we have a whole list of countries that are experiencing the exact same problems we are here. Okay, so the reality is,
yeah,
as they said, NWO, New World Order, they've been very successful on dividing the genders and destroying our societies on a global basis. And without care, this is what really gets to me. Because men and women alike, we're all human beings. Just like women and
yeah.
just like men, we all have natural wants and needs. All of us do, and it's not a gender issue. Okay? We all have wants and needs, right? Well,
Yeah.
when we're not getting our needs that are natural, that destroys or interferes with how you're going to feel, how you're going to act, and how your behavior is going to be.
I want to
They
add something to this too, if I can. Can I add something that I feel that needs to be stated, man?
no, go for it.
Because they always sit there and say, and these are always people who have full, valid social lives who, want to tell us this stuff about, oh, well, we're weak for needing women. Well, that's just a basic biological human. Like, look, human beings need human beings. Okay, let me explain something to you here, right? No one person is a community unto themselves. It takes a community to raise of everybody caring about everybody to raise everybody. Everybody needs other people, bro. Okay, if they don't need other people, then how about this? Next time somebody's trying to break into your goddamn house or trying to hurt you, don't call the cops. You don't need the police. Next time you get injured, don't go to the doctor. You don't need a doctor. I mean, because you don't need other people, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's stupid to sit here and like, oh, you're weak because you have needs that rely on other people. We all do, man. That goes outside of just sex. We don't see people shaming people for that on things outside of the dating or sex realm.
well, to this micro guy in here, he says Warren is not Finney, Finna. Tell how girl ate. All women are so. Why do you want to listen to? Why do you want to listen to him? Well, because Warren's telling the truth. And if you have a problem with Warren, you must have the problem yourself. Because the reality is, we have a female in the chat, and I respect her for being here. And if you're going to make insults towards her or Warren, you're the one in the wrong for doing so. Okay, because
Well, what I've learned is this. What I've learned is you've got male or female. You give people rope and you see what they do with it. But a lot of times, in the past, I'm not saying this is all women, but a lot of times in the past, what I've dealt with is women that claim that they're living TFL. Most of them are fucking lying. We used to have a lady named Susan. Remember her, Bill?
yes,
She used to claim that she was TFL, and it was absolutely fucking lies. She came in with like not even a month, not even a couple of weeks of having joined in the Blog Talk radio show, talking about how, oh, I found my boyfriend, hee hee hee. I
yeah.
mean, he's like, yeah, I'm not buying that.
Well, the thing is the reality is this: I'm 58 years old. I've met lots of women in my life and lots of men in my life. Okay, and
Yeah.
I have yet to meet an honest woman. I'm not saying there ain't no such thing. I'm just saying I have yet to meet an honest woman. I have met a few honest men, but not very many. We are in a world full of people who love lies. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's not a gender issue. Lying has become norm in today's society.
Well,
Okay,
here's the ugly truth of it, man, is men, if you go pre-civilization, right, men learn to survive and thrive, generally speaking, mostly on our physical strength in order to get by, right? Women didn't have that. So instead, they evolved deception and manipulation techniques. And so they've evolved to be deceivers. Again, I'm not saying this is every woman, but I'm having a hard time finding an example to the contrary. I want to believe that there's an example to the contrary.
I understand
That's
what
good
you.
as Sari is actually admitting that she's not TFL.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why I said I'm not going to judge every woman because, see, by her saying she's not TFL, she's told you the truth. Does that mean she's not welcome here? No, that does not mean that. You can never bring the genders back together again if you don't start understanding both genders are human. Both genders have emotions, feelings, wants, and needs. And we cannot shit on each other's wants and needs and start making labels and calling people down and cutting people down and stepping on people and ever get anywhere.
I will say this: what Martin says. Can you say you haven't met thousands of people in your life? I'll say this to that, man. I might not have been personal, like close acquaintance or friends with 1,000 people, but I've easily met probably several thousand people in my life. Even if it was just something as simple as buying something at the checkout counter. I mean,
Well, yeah, that's correct. Okay, the thing is when it comes down to what's going on in our society, we have a society that money, the root of all evil, that is the root of all evil, is responsible for the majority of our corruption. Not all of it, but the majority. Okay? And
yeah.
then of course, the division, which has broke down the family unit and divided the genders, that's been a big tool. That's why I said the core of New World Order is the dating arena. And people, we talked about this yesterday, Warren. You were doing a Google search for the truther community in the manosphere. How many people's made the connection? What did you find?
Absolutely nothing.
Exactly, because you're not finding how many people really made the connection from the truther community New World Order in the dating arena. I think it only comes really down to myself and Warren. And I'm not trying
Well,
to
there's a
be,
few other people
you
here and there. There's
know,
Element. There's
element, yes. But there's just so low amount of people that are understanding NWO is responsible for the breakdown of the family unit and the division of the genders. They're not just responsible for the false flags and for the war and all of the other stuff that's out there. The core of NWO is the dating arena because the Georgia Guidestones tells you it all. They have a
Fun.
population reduction. They have a number that they want to get down to, and they want to keep that number at that number forever. The only way to keep that number at that number would be to control The births. How would you control the births? Outside of GMO foods
No,
and forced sterilization and shit, you would infiltrate the genders and divide the genders.
here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, okay? And I'm definitely in support of getting rid of this toxic government at this point. But like, there doesn't seem to be an obvious solution, because to me it seems like there's a problem of the natural dynamic in this world here, man. Even if you got rid of governments, right? The only way to stop something like that from rising again and to make sure that everybody was free is to keep small groups of, like, let's say 200 or less. And I know I've said this before, but when you do that, now you open up the door to new problems. How do you avoid inbreeding in any kind of meritocratic way in that kind of society?
Well, yep,
And further, what do you do against larger groups that don't really care about maintaining their freedom? They just want to be thugs. And now they have a monopoly on manpower and gunpower. And they can, I mean, even if you're able to fight them off, how much damage is going to be done to your community? Will it be able to thrive after that? I mean, see, these are things you got. There doesn't seem to be a fix. And this is why I fall back to, you can't save the world, man. It's best to worry about saving yourself, because that's all you really can do.
well,
I don't know what comes after this life, man. All I know is I'm going to do my best to live this life and learn as much about this life as I can, so I'll be better prepared for whatever comes next.
well, I agree with you, Warren, and I understand it. The only thing I could think of that might be a plus for everybody, and then of course it ain't going to happen, right? We know this
Yeah.
already. Would be to do away with the monetary system completely. Okay, and that's a whole nother live stream within itself. Because you got to
Yeah.
realize one thing: money is absolutely responsible for the majority of all our corruption. It is
Yeah.
responsible for people's behaviors, because so many people with greed for that money don't care what they do to get ahead and be successful. And when you have a society that to become successful depends on monetary gain for yourself, okay, and to be looked at as successful, well, unfortunately, that's going to lead to exactly what you're seeing. A lot of people's lives being destroyed by other people for their own selfish interest.
Micah the Cynic wrote, "I'm telling you what Warren would laugh out loud. What I would what?" I didn't catch that.
Okay, I'm looking to see where you're seeing that. I'm telling you what Warren would, LOL. I have no idea. Let them explain themselves and what they're saying against Warren, because Warren's not a bad guy. Warren's quite awake to
He
what's
might not
going
be
on.
saying anything against me, man. I don't know. I'm not going to jump to the conclusion that he's saying anything against me. I'm not sure what he's saying one way or the other. I mean,
Warren, Warren and I are friends. And I've talked to Warren one hell of a lot, and he knows me and I know him. And I'll tell you what, if you've never talked to Warren on a personal level ever on a phone, and you've never talked to him and you're just up here leaving comments, going by what you hear, you don't know him. And so you can't make any judgments without maybe sticking your foot right in your mouth. That's where that comes from. So I will stand up for Warren on that behalf, because this is the same person I said that, why would you want to listen to Warren? Well, maybe because Warren's real and Warren's telling truth.
well, I think the reason why he told her that, which make that what you will, I'm not going to really chime in my opinion on it. But I think the reason why he said that was because he was saying that to Sari, and he's pretty much saying, why would you listen to Warren? Pretty much, he's not going to, kiss women's ass and all this stuff, which I don't necessarily think that Sari wants me to, be an ass kisser. But
Well, I'm not, yeah,
but
I wouldn't make an assumption because I'm not sure. We're not inside the man's head to know what he's thinking. The only thing I will say is, I don't think no woman should bow down and kiss a guy's ass, and I don't think no guy should bow down and kiss a woman's ass. I think we should respect each other as human beings. And we should take the time to get to know each other, because not everybody's the same. And we should be honest with each other, not playing games.
yes, he's listening and agreeing with me, so he's not really attacking me. I mean, so
I
you know,
mean,
I mean,
yeah, well, that's good, Joe. That's why I said I don't want to say what he's thinking. I'm not in his head. Okay, so my thing is I look at the reality of our society, and when I want to tell people, I mean, people are literally paying for their own enslavement, and they don't
Well,
even
let's think
know
about
they're
this, Bill.
paying for their own enslavement.
I just got done posting this on Rejected from Eve Zero's video about like maybe a few hours ago, and this is the truth. I was talking to a guy on here. I posted by the name of Black Pill Reality, and I stated, and this is the truth too, man. Here I'll actually dig up I'll actually dig up my reply here, and because it'd be better if I read it to you, because I've got to point some stuff out here that. Let me
Okay,
go ahead and
well,
dig up my.
you dig it up, and
Give me a second.
I'm going to into Wolf Martin. Wolf Martin types, Bill, can you say you have honestly met thousands of people in your life? Yeah, I can honestly say that. Literally, I have met thousands of people in my life, but it doesn't mean everybody you meet in your life you get to know on a personal level. Okay?
Right here it says. Right here, I'm ready, man. It says. Okay, Black Pill Reality writes, honest, bro, I'm not concerned about any of us turning to violence. What I'm concerned about is any of us committing suicide. I think voices like yours and others are important. He's writing this to another YouTuber that make videos. He says, I think voices like yours and others are important to remind people trapped in our position that these are circumstances we are put in through no fault of our own. The constant victim blaming from society is what makes so many young men feel like they can't do anything right, and that's why they end up roping. Once people accept the black pill, they realize that they did nothing wrong, so there's no reason to feel for self-hatred, and the risk of suicide decreases dramatically, right? Okay, so here's my response, right?
Right.
I wrote back, and this is the truth too, right here. I pretty much break it down. Society, despite what people say, vehemently wants to keep us down and in this predicament. This is why they get furious anything we come up with to solve or alleviate our issues. Me Too is a war on beta buckers, not I support beta boxing. The war on prostitution going on, not I support that either. We're slammed for suggesting we want a monogamous society. Roughly a third of men, and growing, are stuck in this position, but how dare we suggest the dating system needs to be changed? That might detract from the female/chat overabundance and entitlements. Ironically, they call us entitled. Now they're attacking sex bots too, because it's another avenue where ordinary men can find companionship. Hell, in England, from what I hear, they even outlawed porn, which is in some ways is beneficial, but they did it because they don't want ordinary men to have fat material. And which is exactly the truth. And he writes back, absolutely right. Over half of my comments are now being shadow banned, blah 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 blah. But but that's exactly what we have going on here, bro. I mean, they want to literally take away any outlet. Dude, it's even going as far as this, man. Like with the last shooting, Donald Trump was talking about taking away video games. Okay, the president was talking about taking away video games. There goes your copes right there. So not only are they taking away any outlets we have, for social connectivity or for our intimate needs to be met. Now they're taking away our copes. Now they're talking about taking away our copes now too,
well, they
our
don't
hobbies
want,
and shit like that.
They don't want you to have coping. They don't want you to have coping mechanisms because then you might not be stressed out. You might not be angry and stressed out. And their idea is to use fear, stress, and everything against you to completely destroy you, to control you so you give in.
Yeah.
That's really what they're after. And then why is that happening? Because once again, we as a people have failed to stand up to these criminal pieces of parasite and turd crap and go after them. If we would just rise up and say no and do nothing and could do it on a massive scale, you could really take the power back away from them because they only get their power from us.
Let me put out a narrative that I see going down here. There's two gynocentric sides, right? There's the liberal feminist and right-wing trad cucks, right? Okay, bear with me here.
Right.
They're both gynocentric approaches, but I think they're going to take different angles, right? The liberals are going to take the sexually liberated approach, all about female sexuality and female empowerment and shit like that, right? Which is going to be more likely to lend itself to some shit like prostitution or something, right? Whereas the conservative mentality is more about protecting women and things like that and using that against men, right? So that's why they're going to be like, say, for example, they're like vehemently against stuff like prostitution. So it's like they're both gynocentric mentalities, but they're different mentalities. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
One's more one's more concerned about protecting women and all that traditionally, where the other one's more about, you know, yeah. Yeah, you know. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, and Micro writes here that if anyone knows the harsh truth about double standards, it's a guy who's nothing, who's not
he's not a
TFL.
TFL.
Fact. Okay. Well, I'll
Well, I
tell
mean,
you
yeah.
what.
Well, look, here's the thing: TFLers come to those same facts too from the other side of the same spectrum. I mean, you're
Yeah.
still learning the same things. It's just, you know, bear in mind too. I mean, a lot of that, you know, even outside of the dating realm, if you're an unattractive guy, man, you're going to be discriminated against in various other walks of life
Well, you
because of
are.
looks.
Well, there's lots of different areas this could go into, but my answer to Micro there would be simple. I may be the guy that gave the name TFL, that started the TF2 Force Loneliness TFL thing online, because I am the guy who done that. Okay? But I've had women in my life. I have a son who I raised. I have a woman in my life right now. Okay?
I've had two girlfriends in the past. I mean, neither of them lasted longer than a month. The first one I left, that was a long story,
But I'm not
but I mean,
here.
I've had
Yeah.
enough. I've had enough to say that I've had a little bit of experience.
But I'm not here for the reason that I started the TFL thing. I'm here because I actually care about all of us. Okay? And I would love to see the men and women in the family unit brought back together again. I would love to see the corruption stopped. I don't see that happening, but it don't mean I'm going to stop fighting for what's right for all of us. That's where that comes from. So,
Yeah.
it's one of them
But see, here's
things
why
that's
I
a
say.
hard pill to,
Uh,
it's really hard.
But here's why and I know we'll agree to disagree on this, but the way I see it, man, is right. When you give the exact same guidelines, the exact same rules to men and women, you're always going to have TFL. You're always going to have hypergamy, man. And because if a woman can work the same jobs a man can, her price tag is going to go up. Now let's say she's making $100,000 a year. Now she wants, generally speaking, she's going to want a man who's making at least $150,000, maybe $200,000 a year. So I mean, it's going to up the game. I mean,
Well,
so
unfortunately, the only problem I have with that, Warren, is this. First off, we got the word game in there, and it should have never been a game, even though everything
I
is.
agree. I mean,
Even though
I didn't
everything,
let that
yeah,
kind of rub off,
I
but
know.
yeah, I mean, it shouldn't
But
be a game, but
and even though everything in our society has been turned into a game, a competition against each other, it should never be that way. Okay? And I would not be the one to say, because this is the problem with the monetary system and the way the hierarchy is set up. To become successful, you get more and more and more, and greed has no end. There's never an end. You always want more and more and more and more. Just like power, you always want more and more and more. Okay? And somebody who's an egomaniac, they always want more of that fix for their ego and more of that fix for their ego, which is the same common denominator in all of them. What needs to happen, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is there needs to be a guideline set on how much a person can rise up because it corrupts the human mind and the behavior to begin with.
at this point, man, I'll be honest with you, man. I've pretty much more or less just given up on most women. And I'm looking at saving up for a sex spot, bro.
Well, I understand that,
I'm
Warren.
against transhumanism vehemently. I understand that it's being used as a segue into transhumanism, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not getting any biological implants placed into me, and I mean, you can't uncreate technology. So you might as well just learn to use it to the best of your advantage. And since I've been denied companionship, I can buy companionship through a fucking robot, which in many ways in today's society is a lot less risky and a lot less hassle and drama and bullshit you got to put up with than if you actually did manage to get an organic woman.
Well,
I mean, you got to think about it.
Warren,
If
I
it's that
totally
hard just to
agree.
get an organic woman, let's say you did get, let's say you did get a woman in your life. Now, how much harder are you going to have to run on that damn hamster wheel to maintain her, to keep her interested, to keep her from running to the next better deal that comes along?
That's because the foundation of a successful relationship has been broke down. All the things that's needed for a man and woman to get together and have a life together, everything that's been needed for that has been completely flipped upside down, turned inside out, on its freaking head. And this is why you've heard me say for years now, people don't know what they're doing. And people get mad at me when I say that, but I don't care because the reality is the reality. You know, Warren should have never, ever, ever had to have a life where he has to resort to getting a damn sex bot just to have somebody in his life. Okay? You should never have a leader of a man's right movement saying there's going to be a significant amount of men, a significant, which means a high number of men that no woman will ever want to give the time of day to when you don't even know them. That right there
Dude,
is
get a load of this,
complete
Bill. Get a
corruption.
load of this, Bill. When I was on that website, right, some woman chimes in because the dude had a sex bot in the background. The dude that made the video, he got a sex bot, rejected from Eve Zero. He has a sex bot, right? So this woman comes in, chimes in about how, oh, that makes her feel uneasy or makes her nerves raw, whatever. And I'm sitting there like, you understand that the reason why these men are going to sex bots is because because all y'all women won't give them the fucking time of the day. I mean, if y'all want to blame somebody for why sex bots are rising, look in the fucking mirror and blame yourselves.
Well, in reality, that would be
I mean,
that's a very crude way of saying it, but it's the absolute truth. Okay? And the understanding is simple. If it wasn't for the social engineering destroying our society, dividing the genders, and diluting everybody's mind with porn and money, and power, if it wasn't for all the stuff that's been put in everybody's face, we wouldn't be having this problem. And yeah, it needs to be talked about. And we have the females still in here, okay? And the reality is it's right or wrong. Warren should not have to resort to the extremes he's resorting to, but by no means is it Warren's fault. This is what our society has done for us. This is why you hear me smash 30 years of male shaming that's still going on and nobody's saying nothing about it.
I have a theory here too, Bill. I mean, which I'm kind of halfway on because I did go through the LD classes and got scored out of 7th grade when I was a kid. But I mean, here I have a theory here though, man, is that the majority of people who are diagnosed as quote Asperger's or whatnot, like I was,
Right?
okay, Asperger's or high function autism is code word for unattractive male. Because you see, here's how it pans out, right? If from an early age you're socially excluded and you're pushed out of society, you don't get a chance to develop those social skills on the same level that everybody else does. So naturally, you're not going to have as good of social skills, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, technically by that sense, anybody who's TFL was technically quote Aspie by that sense because I'm thinking that the autism maybe isn't even really high functioning autism is, but I mean, as far as, I'm thinking like, you say, or excuse me, low functioning autism is my bad, but as far as high functioning autism, or as far as like Asperger's, I'm thinking that's just a fucking code word for unattractive male.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that, Warren. And
yeah,
unfortunately, thanks to social engineering and stuff and everything being destroyed, you got a lot of people out there, men and women alike, in the first, they know right away what they're looking for, and they're going by exactly that looks, okay? And when you go by looks, you're going by cover. And if you're going to go by looks, you're also going to be putting a lot of people out, shoving a lot of people out of their life. And the sad thing about that is nobody keeps their looks. I don't give a shit what gender you are. Nobody keeps their looks, and looks does not get you happiness.
And here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, okay? Some fucking 3 foot tall, 450 pound burn victim lady, man, can have more of a goddamn sex life and social life and relationship life and whatnot, than I'm allowed to have, right? Because I'm not attractive enough because I have a penis. You think about the irony of that, man. I mean.
Yeah, well, you know what, Warren? I'm looking at what Wolf Martin wrote, and just to tell Wolf Martin, I agree with him.
Yeah.
I agree with his last statement, okay, because what he said is correct. You have a lot of married men, okay, that are still, you can be married and not be happy, Warren. In today's society, it's like this. Your girl and guy gets together, and she's after her own interest, and he's after his own interest, and it's nothing but fighting and drama and usury.
Well, yeah, and I mean, how many times too? I mean, I've heard people on, like, if you go like incels.co, that's a toxic ass site, bro. They really discredit our legitimate struggle, bro. But you go on there, and it's all about true cell Olympics. Who's the biggest true cell? Who's the biggest victim? So if I go there and say, oh well, I had a relationship 15 years ago, I'm like, oh, I'm a fake cell. I shouldn't speak. I should sit there and shut up and know my place. Well, how are you any goddamn different now than the fucking normies that are shaming you and telling you the same shit?
That's exactly right, Warren.
I'm supposed to sit here and supposed to ignore the past 15 years and what the previous 15 years before that?
That's exactly
I mean,
right.
all that means nothing now.
No, it don't. People don't care. What they care about is themselves, and they're doing a shitty job at looking out for their own self because they're complicit with the corruption that's going to lead to the fall of their own society and to lots of blood on the streets. Everything they don't want is going to come their way because they're complicit. But the reality is this: TFL within itself. I don't care if a guy's married. I'm married. I got a woman in my life. That has nothing to do with it because the war is against men. And because women have been thrown into this position as well, I understand women have lots of perks, men don't. And a lot of women don't even see it that way, but they'd have to walk in the guy's shoes or really open their eyes to what's going on. The only thing I would tell a woman who don't see it, I want a woman to do this. This is for the women only. So let me say this, Warren, because this message is to women only. If you can't see it, then I want you to pay attention to your television set really hard and think about every time you hear somebody putting down a man on a movie, on a commercial, on a sitcom. You got 30 years of male bashing going on. You got women who made a star out of another woman for cutting a man's penis off. You got another woman who became idolized because she cut the penis off and threw it in a garbage disposal. You got four adult women who climbed up on TV and laughed and giggled at it. Okay? So for a woman, I would say, if you open your eyes and you see this going on, then all you'd have to do is think about this. Would you want that happening to you? And if your answer is no, you wouldn't want, if some guy took a woman because she was going to divorce him and drugged her, tied her up, and took a fillet knife and carved her privates out and dropped it in a garbage disposal, this whole world would prosecute and hang that guy forever. But what
Yeah.
is the difference between cutting a guy's penis off or cutting the woman's private parts off? Nothing. There is no difference. Okay?
But yet, let's think about this for a moment, Bill. In the West, we scream at genital mutilation against women in the Middle East, or which is alleged. It might go on in some countries in the Middle East, right? But at the same time, what do we do over here in America? Oh, it's completely normal for boys to be circumcised, and you're not supposed to talk out about it.
Yes, yes, that's correct. You know, but my reality is this. Two women out there, you see what's going on. You know you wouldn't want to be in them shoes yourself that men are being put in. This is the problem. This is why I say what I say. Why are men? We got tons of men standing up and trying to say something. You got tons of other men attacking them men and throwing them under a bus. And you got women literally not saying a thing or doing a thing about it because we're all standing down and we're all complicit with it. And that has to change because if we don't change that being complicit with this and start standing up for each other, I mean, that's serious. Men need to stand up for women. Well, women, you need to stand up for men every much as you want stood up for yourself. Because until that happens, we cannot change this.
Yeah, I personally, I mean, like I said, it's fine if we disagree, but I personally believe that men and women are just biologically different, man, and hence, you know, it comes with different advantages and disadvantages. I mean,
Well, I would agree with a percentage of what you're saying, Warren, but it still doesn't change the reality because the reality is if the woman put herself in a guy's shoes for 5 minutes and thought about that, she knows she wouldn't want to be done that way, right? So
yeah,
this means she has the ability to recognize right from wrong, just like men. We all have the ability to recognize right from wrong. And if you can't work on your own self to do right unto others and stop recognizing a gender, When you're doing right unto somebody else, it doesn't have nothing to do with gender. Right is
Yeah.
right and wrong is wrong.
Yeah. And I'll tell you who's not helping our situation at all, man. Like I can't say this enough, man. And this is the reason why the mainstream media decided to run with incels, bro, because they're the most toxic group that are addressing this problem. They're absolute edge lords. They're perpetual 13 years old, even if they're fucking 65. I mean, you look at the edge lord mentality on their fucking forums, yo. I mean, they say the stupidest shit just to get attention.
Oh, I
I
know.
mean, dude. I mean, like I can't say that enough, man. Like well, like the incels, I mean, not all of them, but the greater majority of them that outlaw this, they need to go fuck off. You know, it's like, you want to help? Why don't you sit down and shut the fuck up and you help by not helping?
Yeah, unfortunately, what you said is correct, Warren. You know, our mentality in today's society has been socially engineered, but when you look around you at today's society, it does come back to the system itself.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with 100% of everything you say on TFL, but I'm much more inclined to roll with TFL than I am Forever Alone or Incel. Incels are just a bunch of spastic, toxic edge lords, and Forever Alone are a bunch of fucking faggot soy boys that ain't got no balls. That's what, right? That's why listen to this, man. Listen to Forever Alone for me. Listen to this, man. They had to private the female quote Forever Alone for them because they got tired of male Forever Alones trying to start relationships with them. Now let that sink in there for a moment. And these are the same men who will sit there and say, "Oh, but there are legit female incels too," because if she can't, because if this 310 fucking woman can't get a long term commitment out of a fucking 810 chat and she feels hurt by it, then she's forever alone too. It's like, get the fuck out of here with that shit, bro. I mean, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, grow some fucking balls. I mean, why is it? Why is it right? Okay, women are allowed to have their female issues, or in some cases, what are perceived to be female issues, and men don't go to flooding their goddamn forums and flooding their videos and shit, talking about, well, men put up with that too, men put up with that too, men put up with that too. We don't do that, right? But whenever men have a problem, women got to be included too. So in other words, women are allowed to have gender-specific problems, but men aren't.
Well, I know that's the double standards in society. There's so many double standards created, and then there's the taboo topics that's been created. Even TFL was a taboo topic. It wasn't supposed to be talked about. You were supposed to
Yeah.
just shut your mouth and bend over, Warren.
Well, a lot like if you go back 50 years ago when they used to tell people, you're not supposed to talk about pedophilia, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
yeah,
what they really
I
do, what
mean,
they're really saying is, shut your mouth so we can continue doing what we're doing.
yeah,
That's really what they're saying. When it's taboo, that means shut your mouth so we can continue with our corruption.
yeah. I mean, he says, yeah. So I don't know how Warren is considered a nice, respectful guy for Sari if he feels the same way every other woman does. And with Martin, I hear you, Michael, but you can tell Warren is a good guy, just frustrated like the rest of us. Do you realize how unnatural all of this is? Exactly. Sari has been included, even though she, as a woman, can't relate to none of this shit. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I mean, assuming that Sari is legit, which I'm not going to say she is, I'm not going to say she isn't, I don't know her, but assuming that she is legit, then I wouldn't have no problem with her being here. I mean, if there are legit women out there who actually do sympathize with our cause, I mean, it would be good for more of them to listen to us. But my thing is, I'm not convinced that there are. I mean, I'd like to believe that there are, but the majority of people I do see get involved in the manosphere are running a chameleon game.
Well,
So, I
unfortunately,
mean,
I know what you're saying, Warren, and we've both seen it happen, but you don't want to make the assumption. So she hasn't said or done anything contrary. So we have to leave it as the fact that there are good women out there, and I know there is. And because I
she
know
don't have to
there is,
leave.
you know,
She said, like, She said, "I respectfully leave if you wish." You know, I mean, I'm not saying you have to leave. I mean, you know, if anything, you know, if you're honest and you're legit, I'm giving you some rope, and over time you can show me that. You know, if you leave now, you're pretty much telling me you're not honest, you're not legit, and therefore you're afraid I might find out. So I mean, definitely stick around. I mean, let me see what you're really made of. I don't think I'm gonna really get to know you that personally, you know, over a chat session like this in the comments. But who knows? You know?
Well, that's just it. The thing is I don't want to judge somebody you don't know, even her. Okay, because when a good woman does come forward and start speaking up, if you start slamming her, then you're only helping the problem continue. Because why would any other good woman want to come forward if that's how we treat them? You don't treat them that way. Give them the chance to prove themselves that they are real. If they're real, guess what happens? Another woman who's real is going to come along and see that and may join forces, and then pretty soon another one, and then pretty soon another one, and pretty soon we start making ground.
Yeah. And that's the way it ideally would work. But like I said, you got to be vigilantly goddamn cautious too, though, man, because there's so many chameleons out there running chameleon game that they say they sympathize with men's issues, but they're there for their own reasons. They're there for their own benefit. They don't really care about men. I'm not saying that's Sari. It might not be Sari, but there are a lot of women out there that do that, and that's the majority of women in the manosphere.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Warren. You're correct about that. I just want to be straightforward and equal and give her as much chance as you'd give anybody else because you don't judge somebody you don't know. And because she's a female doesn't mean she's here for wrong intentions. Okay?
Yeah, she could call in if she wanted to. I know because that's actually a pretty good idea. Michael Distinct says hell she can call in.
Well, I wouldn't be
If she's
against.
able to.
I wouldn't be against that, but the only way that could happen would be to give her my email address
Yeah.
so that she could get the information so that she could use her phone to call in. And
Yeah,
and that's totally up to her. If she wants the email and is willing to call in, then I would give her my email, and then she can send an email say who she is, just hi, it's me, blah blah blah, and I'll give her the information. Then if she chooses to call in, she'll do it of her own want. I'm not going to pressure her at all, but I'm not going to dump on her because the reality is there are good women out there. And the reality is, if you get women starting to come forward that are there for the right intentions, you don't want to run them off.
Yeah. Did we run her off? Is she still here?
No, I believe she's still here. But that's
All
gonna be
right.
yeah, but that's gonna be totally up to her. I'm not pushing anything. If she wants the ability to call in the show, she can type yes she does, and I'll give her my email address. Okay, well that's to
Yeah.
you. To Carrie, I'll give you my email address if you want to call into the show sometime. Then you can start drop me an email, say hi, and I'll send you the information in your email. And then the next time Warren and I are on doing a live stream and you're around, if you want to call into it, you'll be more welcome to do so.
And remember this: you start off, male or female, you start off with common courtesy, and over time, once you give have enough time to prove yourself or disprove yourself, that may turn to respect or disrespect over time. But like, you're not going to get to know nobody, just because you had one talk with them. It's going to take time. It might take months. It might take years.
Well, but Warren, that's the fact of life. Getting to know somebody does take time. Okay?
Yeah.
And if her objective for being here is sincere and real, then that's awesome, okay? And
Yeah.
if she feels like calling in sometime when you and I are on, I'll give her the information, but that's got to be her call. She has to want to do that before I'll do that.
Yeah. Right on.
I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm not going to be up here much longer because we're already an hour and 40 minutes in. But I will be up there a few more minutes in case she wants an email address. Then I'll give it to her,
Yeah.
okay? Because
Right
I'm
on.
not going to keep the email address away from her because the only way she could ever call in, okay, is like you are, Warren. And, unless she wants to put Zoom and she wants to put Zoom on a PC or on her phone and use Zoom instead of her phone to call in, I do that for people too, but you still have to have my email address and put Zoom on it. Use my email address to add me as a contact. Okay, you can do that as well if you want to put it on a cell phone or a computer or whatever. Zoom is free to get, or you can get the other information and dial the phone number and put in the meeting number and come in like Warren did. It's totally up
See,
to
the
her.
reason why I say, Bill, the reason why I say you're always going to have hypergamy, okay, really we go back to pre-civilization or civilization, right? And pre-civilization, it was a lot more brutal and in your face, right? The men had to compete and fucking sometimes even die competing for a woman's affection. Okay, so I mean, yeah, hypergamy was rampant there. There was mass waves of TFL, and a lot of the guys that were TFL didn't really get to live long. Okay, post-civilization, we've seen this time and again as the manipulation of that hypergamous instinct. So I mean, you know, there's been various pockets of TFL down through history during various nations and empires. So in the past, if you're going through that, you're living in the downturn of an empire, you could just go to another country or something, where it was a more stable culture and stable society. But it's getting to a point where you can't do that anymore because the problem is going global now.
Oh, I know.
So, you know, but like I said, I mean, you know, I think that men and women are kind of natured a little bit differently. And it doesn't mean that one's better than the other. It just means that, generally speaking, there are certain things that men do better and certain things that women do better.
Well, you know, in reality, Warren, in life, there are certain things that men and women do better than another, but it's not a gender issue, okay? But reality is a woman is still a woman with a few different organs and different chemistry in her body than a man, right?
Yeah,
But we're still all human beings, okay? And we have to
yeah.
start recognizing each other as a human being and not think that somebody's better or above somebody because I don't believe in anybody's better or above anybody. We're all
I
human
don't think
beings.
anybody's better and above everybody. I just, like I said, I just think that on a general level, we have different characteristics, right? Men are generally more likely to be to think rationally and logically, whereas women are going to use more emotion on average. Not to say that men don't have emotions, or it's not to say that women can't at all think logically, but I'm speaking on an aggregate level here. The way that I've seen the majority of women work is that the way they view the world is rooted in solipsism, right? And it's focused through the lens of their emotions. So concepts like honor and justice are lost on them because they can't perceive of those things outside of themselves. You know, honor justified is whatever makes her feel good about herself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but we have a society right now, Warren, where it's so messed up that everybody's out for their own selfish interest. You know that, and I know that.
Yeah.
And they don't have care for other people to begin with. And that's the reason I harp on care so much, you know. But it is what it is, man. And I'm not going to stop fighting. And I'm not going to stop speaking out until I'm no longer here with anybody. You know, when I pass away, then I guess I'll stop, right? Because I
The
don't,
closest
you
I can
know.
come to a solution to a system that I think would be, in my opinion, that would work. The closest I could come to that would be a mix of anarchism and patriarchy. I mean, soft patriarchy, not like hard in your face, like not like oppressive patriarchy, like you got in like, let's say, theoretically in some places in the Middle East, say for example. But I mean, like more like old school, like Western, like patriarchy and anarchy. I don't know if you could really combine those two things, but you know,
I know what you're trying to get at. You
yeah,
know, I really do on that. But hey, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of this live stream for now. I've been up here almost, you know, like an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm gonna jump on out of here, Warren. And hey, thank you for calling in.
yeah,
I actually appreciate that, and I'm sure other
right
people in
on.
here do as well. And you know, you're welcome to call in anytime you see me when you want. So,
Yeah, right on.
okay. With that said, guys, I'm on out of here, and you all have a good one.